every time you have an attempt to give up smoking, and you are giving up for a short time, it makes you stronger. It makes you know that you can give up. It's not something that you can't do, because every little achievement is important, and it's important to celebrate those achievements and to keep on going.
No one wants to die. Yeah, so you've got to make some sacrifices, even for yourself, your own life,
I changed within myself and really put it out there for myself, and if I can do it, someone else can, see me, and they can do the same change. So yeah, I just sort of do it myself, just enough is enough.
But this time I decided with my family, I waited till my husband went away to work, and I'd done it by myself because I didn't want the pressure of them arping, because I was not in a very good mood for giving up smoking and stuff. So when they went away and he came home, I was smoke-free, which was really good.
People will start their journey in a whole bunch of different ways, and whether that's because they've had a serious health incident where they've gone to hospital for some reason, the doctors told them to quit, or they've seen a poster of ours or multiple posters that start to trigger messaging. And one of the really strong things that we started to do was talking about smoke-free homes and cars. So it's like, okay, if you're going to do it, you just think about your family first, think about your kids, and don't smoke in your house, do it outside, or don't do it in your car while your kids are strapped into their seats, and they don't really have a choice to escape that.
Well, I'm 58 and I'm a diabetic. So, and the doctor was always harping on me to give up smoking because of my diabetes and everything. And then I just decided, yep, I'm going to stop smoking. And I went to the caseworkers with Murra Health, and they supported me through my journey of quitting smoking. How you been?
Yeah, not bad. Just take a seat.
Okay, thanks.
Alright, so Uncle Collie told me that you wanted to give up smoking.
Well, I want to try.
I want to try.
I want to try, Chris. I had stacks of attempts of giving up smoking, last a week. Used all the excuses of getting angry, annoyed with people.
Why do you think you didn't quit last time?
Because all my friends are still smoking, all my friends smoking, and
So it's a social thing.
a social thing, got to be in with the crowd. First thing in the morning, as soon as I got out of bed, I would have a cigarette in my hand, and I would smoke, and then I'll have breakfast, and then I'll have a couple of smokes. Work, everyone smoked, they all went outside thing, and I used to think, I'll go out and join them and have a smoke. But now it doesn't worry me. What worries me is the smell of the smoke when they come back and walk past me. That really, and I used to say to people, did I smell like that? Because the smell was just something shocking.
Did you notice anything about your urges, like when you really wanted to smoke when you woke up? Was it in the car or just out with friends?
When I woke up in the morning, I had to have a cigarette. Chris, it didn't matter what time I woke up. But now what I do is I get up and I think, I could tidy up the bathroom or something like that. And then I have my breakfast, and now I don't even think about it. It's just... But at first it was the temptation of looking for a cigarette as soon as I woke up. And no, I don't do that anymore. I just do things around the house.
And we'll also give you the inhaler. Just so when people are smoking, you can have it there so you don't feel out.
When I quit smoking, with my family away, that was good, but I had the support of the workers at Murra Health. They were really good. I could pop in and see them, or I'd ring them up. There was no hassles, and they just kept encouraging you all the time, and it was just the positive feedback I got from them that you thought, well, I don't want to go back to smoking anymore.
When I became pregnant with my first child, the doctor gave me the big talk about smoking and the harms of the baby, and it really sunk in, and so the morning sickness helped a lot to give up the smoking, but it was just set in my mind to give up smoking, and it was easier when I kept thinking about why I was doing it.
When you light up, you drag over 4,000 chemicals into your lungs and then into your bloodstream. If you're pregnant, those chemicals are fed to your baby through the placenta.
Yeah, it was just, I felt my head was clearer all the time, and that just my body just started to feel good again. Yeah, and it only took like a couple of weeks and I was feeling better after. It didn't take long for the smoke to get out of my system and make me feel a lot better.
Baby gets less oxygen, which affects lung and brain development. When you quit together.
I smoke outside, of course, like everyone does now these days. But when I do have a smoke, it's when my daughter's asleep, or she's with someone else, because I go out for a smoke and I come in and I scrub my hands. I'm big on those antibacterial hand sanitizers, and yeah, my teeth, like I'm forever brushing my teeth and I hate it. It's something that I know that I shouldn't be doing anyways. It's a waste of time when you think about it. Like, instead of going through all that hassle of getting rid of the smell and everything, I should, work on giving up smoking again. Because I've done it twice before, and yeah, it's just a matter of getting my head back into it and thinking about it again.
Talk to friends and relations about, the issues that affect them in your smoking, and think about what you're denying yourself. But I think it's also important for people who don't smoke to don't take it up, and to know now that the information's out that it's not good. It's not good fun to smoke, and I know from young friends of my children who've got hooked on smoking because they tried it early, and then they're now struggling as they're into their early 20s. They're trying to buy a car, they're trying to go on a holiday, and they find that all their money's going on cigarettes. But when they do give up, they can celebrate, they can go on their holiday. And I think they're the important issues that we have to think about in the whole process of giving up smoking.
I estimated and sat down only a week or so ago and sat down and worked out how many cigarettes I'd smoked. And I was sitting down and then I added it up again and then added it up again and went, nah, that can't be right. 200,000 cigarettes. And that's what it is, 200,000 cigarettes. And so, all those things hit you home and think, well, what's that costing now? What's it going to cost in the future as well? That much money. They're cheaper when we were younger, but now they're not as much and all that. But there's a lot of factors now that make me want to be a non-smoker.
More work has to be done around some of the social structures in communities and within individuals to try and help them develop their own strategies to cope with whatever they need to. And, stress is a big issue. That sort of the social aspect of smoking is quite difficult for people to try and shed, because
when they're trying to quit, they obviously have to try and stay away from some of the people that they would normally smoke with, which in some instances might be their partner, which makes it quite difficult and quite challenging for that person to go through. So I think, you know, a lot of work can be done in the next few years about helping people come up with their own coping strategies. And then, you know, hopefully doing some programs to help families. So a number of people who are smoking, trying to help them to try and quit at the same time, or a particular social group might be another interesting way of trying to tackle that issue as well. Because if they're all coming at that problem with the same coping strategies, then they can all help each other as well. So you're kind of setting up your own sort of support structure for that person and that group as well. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone tries to tackle that kind of stuff soon.
Anecdotally, you hear like, oh, you know, so many people smoking and not many people are quitting, but there are people quitting, and there are people who were available locally who could tell their story about giving away the smokes and how they quit smoking and the improvements they've received on their health. So we wanted to present those good news stories so that people could see, you know, that the messages are positively framed. They're helping people build up their confidence that, yeah, well, maybe I can do it too.
Hi, I'm Alec DeMogi, and if you're watching this film, I'm guessing you're thinking about quitting smoking, right? Well, good for you, because smoking is the #1 killer of our...
I've been working with the Aboriginal community locally since 2005. Before that, I was involved with the Division of General Practice in Coffs Harbour, developing and running quit smoking programs, mostly group programs. And in 2005 we were approached by a local Aboriginal medical service called Galambilla, and they really said, well, can you do something for our people? You know, smoking prevalence is very high in Indigenous communities. So at that point I got involved with developing with Galambilla a culturally appropriate smoking cessation program.
Bust your lungs up, you got busted lungs, you got no woman, you got no car, you got no job, you busted up, brother. Don't smoke.
I had this vision that I wanted to be able to provide a more comprehensive program. So there's a couple of opportunities came up for funding. I think the first grant we applied for wasn't successful, but then the Indigenous Tobacco Control Initiative started, and we did put in an application for that, and we were successful. So right from the beginning, one of my ideas was for that program to have a DVD.
So let's go and talk to some people about smoking.
I smoked since I was young. I still smoke. I'm trying to give up smoking, but it's hard.
What do you think of cigarettes?
No good.
Can you tell me about your experience with cigarettes?
Oh, hate them. I really hate them.
Oh, it's not good for you?
No, never have, never will.
Good stuff. I take it you're a smoker then?
I'm a smoker, yeah.
You can't make something like that without without involving the community at every step of the way. So, you know, for our border program, which was called No Smokes North Coast, we had a steering committee, and that involved representatives from lots of different sectors. So that included representatives of Aboriginal community-controlled organisations in the area, and the health services, the Aboriginal health at the hospital, educational services, and, you know, social services. So that was our overarching committee, and then under that we had a specific arts and media subcommittee. We had a lot of committees, I have to say. And then underneath that we had a DVD working party of people who were particularly a smaller group that were going to be really more hands-on with working on the DVD.
Okay, here's a short history lesson. A long time ago, some of our ancestors dried out the leaves of certain plants to make pidgeri and bush tobacco, which was chewed with ash. Then those Indonesian fellas came down and started trading tobacco. After that, white fellas turned up and traded tobacco for all kinds of stuff. And when we worked on stations, we often got paid in tobacco there too. These days, cigarettes have become some kind of currency for us mob. We'll trade it for just about anything, like getting a lift into town.
I mean, one of the things that was going to be important with the DVD was to have the right balance of messages. So there obviously had to be some medical, health promotional type messages in there, and we didn't want those to be confusing.
So, what if you're pregnant? Can you still smoke? Can you still take NRT and medications like Champix and Zyban? Let's find out.
In terms of medications like Zyban or Champix, we don't recommend its use in pregnancy. The safest form would be to use the NRT as a lozenge. Then the next line would be to use patches, NRT patches. It's really important to try and stop smoking as early as possible in a pregnancy, preferably before you fall pregnant, but if not, as early as possible in a pregnancy and preferably before 16 weeks. It's got some not so good health effects on both you and the baby.
So basically, once we'd selected the production company that we were going to work with, the script was really a collaborative development between the producer and director and myself, but then we kept feeding the script back to the committee for them to give their input. And the parts that were scripted were really more the parts where, we were perhaps going to interview a doctor or a health professional and we wanted them to talk about tobacco. It was a loose sort of script, but we didn't want people to suddenly come up with a random message that wasn't evidence-based. So those parts were scripted, but then we also had more general sections where people in the community were going to be interviewed, say on the street, or sports people, or role models, and none of that was scripted as such.
These fellas have just won the local grand final. I wonder if any of them are smokers.
I don't smoke.
That's why you're man of the match, then?
Yeah.
Non-smoker.
I felt 100% myself, like when I wasn't smoking.
I'll give up probably in 2003.
Have you tried to quit?
Yeah, it's just too hard. I tried a couple of times, yeah.
Brother, you still haven't quit yet. You tried?
No, I tried twice.
You tried twice. What's dragging you back into smoking?
I say myself. Just hold myself back.
What are some of the other benefits you've faced since giving up smoking,
Motivation, I think. Motivation. I wasn't really motivated.
You going to keep trying?
Yeah, I'll keep trying.
Another way to make quitting a little bit easier is to join a support group, like this one, the Quit Cafe. Hi guys. Hello. Can I join in?
Yeah. Hi Alec, welcome to the Quit Cafe. Now we're just talking about why people want to quit and what some of the challenges are.
When you go out, you have a beer and it's just automatically that you have the cigarette as well.
I have friends who come over and most of my friends are smokers, so it's really hard. Yeah, and I've tried, this is about the 6th or 7th time to give up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really ready to quit, but I thought I'd come along and have a look. And I know it's good to have support. I've tried it before and it was a bit hard trying to give up on my own. I had 10 years off it before, but I've been smoking again for about another 10. So
it's really important that you felt that you could come here today, because even though some of you feel like it's huge and you might not be ready to quit at the moment, you'll find with the support in the group and with everybody working together, you'll feel more supported and more motivated to make that decision. I just love working with people, helping them quit smoking, because I believe it's the single most important thing you can do as a doctor. If somebody smokes, their health's not going to improve really till they stop smoking. So it is, although it's very simple, it's a very powerful thing to do. And because of my interest in the arts, apart from being a doctor, I've probably got more qualifications in the arts area than I have in medicine, so in drama and in arts therapy. So I have this feeling of just loving working with art and visual things and movement and drama. And I found that with my work with Aboriginal people, I've been able to bring this more in. So into like we ran an arts and health program for Indigenous school children, getting them to make their own quit smoking messages, and some of those are like incredibly powerful. And you know, you can see from that how worried the kids are that their parents are smoking. They're worried they're going to lose their parents.
People have asked me if I ever smoked. Yes, I did. But I gave up in 1977. But I tried many times, and I was successful when I was in my mid to late 20s, and I was at university. And as a psychology assignment was a behaviour modification, and so I chose to stop smoking and to stop myself from smoking. And so I went through a process and haven't had a cigarette since 1977, 20th of September 1977 in fact, so it's a long time. But I know the struggle. I know the struggle that my family goes through, my sisters, you know, and other friends, and my daughter, and you know, she's had the struggle, but you know, it's over 430 days since she's given up smoking, which is fantastic, and she keeps a record, as does one of my sisters, who's now into you know, 35 days since she's given up. And like everybody, very few people are really successful on the first attempt.
First, when you're trying to make that change, you know, you change for yourself, you know, to better yourself, your life, your health, and your well-being. And at the same time, you're hanging around people who are still doing the same thing. So yeah, it was a struggle. I sort of, you know, went for, you know, I tried it, you know, a week, 2 weeks, and then went for a month. And then, but there were times that I go around and hang around with all my brothers, my sisters, and families, you know, friends. And there'll be a time where they come around and say, "Oh, Dad, you know, come and have a cigarette with us. You know, don't try and act like you know, that better person and that." And if you try and, you know, avoid it, you're trying to avoid it, and then, but after a couple of, you know, drinks and that, you find yourself going back and have a cigarette again. But always practice. I said, now I'm better than this. I can do it. You know. So I sort of put myself, you know, this is just a trial. You know, if I can overcome this for a week, and then for a month, and then for a year, you know, as I go, you know, a success, and then, you know, I can overcome it. So, yeah, it took me a while. It took me a week, a month, and now I say it's about 7 to 8 months that I've, yeah, completely stayed out of cigarette, yeah, and reduced all my alcohol intake, and yeah, trying to eat healthy and do a lot of exercise and focus more on my artwork and my music, and yeah, life is much more better. And this is just it's just that if I come here, if I have a rough time, you know, in my personal, you know, life, you know, in my personal time, if I have a rough time, you know, I come in here and just lay on the floor, or chuck a, you know, in a bin bag down there, and just lay there and look up the ceiling, and then this will remind me of who I am and what I can do, and I can create stuff out of nothing. So it sort of reminds me. So if I lay down there and then I look up to the ceiling, I say, hey, I got a beautiful talent. I'm a beautiful person. I can do stuff, you know. So that's sort of, it's gonna remind me of, you know, get up and move forward again.